Good evening. I'd like to call this Tuesday, January 19th, 2016 meeting of Middletown City Council to order. If you please stand and join me in a moment of meditation and the pledge allegiance to the flag. And as remembering folks, I'd ask everyone to please remember firefighter Scott Bruggeman, who passed away recently here. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Gank, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Bronston. Here. Mr. Bohannon.
Here.
Mr. Moon.
Here.
Mr. Picard.
Here.
Mayor Mulligan.
Here. All right, our first order of business is our citizen comments. We have one card this evening. I'd like to invite Mr. Eric Hafer down. Good evening. If we get your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Eric Hafer. I live at 3351 Babson Court. I own the house at 6703 Naldo Lane. This property borders the Town Boulevard properties, and it's adjacent to the development for the Operators Union on Town Boulevard. I'm here tonight because I'm concerned about the developments on that property. As you are probably, I know you're aware that the grading that has taken place has, I guess, there was a landscape buffer zone there, and I'm concerned that this landscape buffer zone is not going to be intact in the future. At some point, I may want to move back to my house on 6703. But eventually, no matter what, I'll have to sell that property, and I feel like my property values are going to be affected by it. I hope you can bear with me. I got a couple people here, Julie and Bruce. They live in the neighborhood, and I'm hoping that maybe I can take a little bit of their time because I'll probably go over my 3 minutes.
Okay, we'll try to accommodate it the best you can. Just ask it to be as brief and concise as possible.
Okay. Well, I need to go back to May 2014. I got a letter from Planning Commission about a minor amendment for this property, for this development, behind my neighbor's property house, Jack Downey. I attended the meeting, listened to Marty's presentation, Marty Kohler. He proposed the amendment to reduce the buffer zone from 150 feet to 80 feet. I thought, wow, that's a substantial change. I knew this wasn't in my best interest, but I continued to listen. And according to Marty's presentation, I could not come up with an argument against it. I felt like Planning Commission was within their right to do whatever they want with that buffer zone. It's a buffer zone. It's like a setback. They change those all the time. I've been on both sides of that issue. During the public comment, I conjured up any argument I could have, which, since it was a parking lot expansion, they were going to add some parking lot lights. Concerned a little bit about the light, spilling over onto my property at night. But I also warned about my concern for the future of that buffer zone. Little did I know how fast that future would come, because fast forward to this past summer, the contractor got their approvals to start, and they cleared all the way to the property line. That buffer zone that was 150 foot got reduced down to 80 feet, thanks to Planning Commission. And then it went down to 0 thanks to the contractor. This made some people in the neighborhood very angry. A lot of people, not just Julie and Bruce and myself. We represent the neighborhood. We've had meetings. We've been elected to represent the neighborhood. When we started doing some research, this plat turned up. Can I hand this plat out?
Sure.
You probably have seen it, but I want to make sure.
Start with Mr. Atkins there.
This one's highlighted.
You can just pass them down and make it easier. You can talk about it.
This document is a plat. It was approved by Planning Commission, and it was recorded in 1997 in the Warren County Recorder's Office. It's not that old. On that plat, you'll see I highlighted there's an easement which that planning commission had the forethought to require before they gave their approval for it. That easement is 150 feet. So I thought, okay, well, what is an easement? I looked it up, Black's Law Dictionary. It says, a right in the owner of one parcel of land by reason of such ownership to use the land of another for a special purpose. That special purpose here is actually, it's no purpose at all. It is for drainage and landscape. It states, I highlighted it, 150-foot wide open space landscape and open channel drainage easement. Open space to me means no buildings, no fences, no light poles, no parking lot. It's just that. It's for drainage and landscape only. So now what? To my knowledge, City Council has not passed any ordinance approving that amendment. I don't know if one was needed for a minor amendment. But this is a major amendment. They took away 47% of our landscape buffer on paper and 99% of it on the site. I know the right thing to do is to send this back to Planning Commission. I'm pretty certain that you guys can still do that. Get it on the agenda, present all the facts, and give notice to everyone on the block as it states in that chapter 1284.02 of the Middletown Code of Ordinances. Let them vote on it again. I think this time the citizens will be afforded the opportunity to show up to the Planning Commission meeting, and the Planning Commission will be given all the necessary information, and the outcome might be different. I want to tell you something about the residents of this neighborhood. It's more evident to me now that I've moved away than it was when I lived there. But this neighborhood is like no other place in Middletown. These are 1-acre lots. We like our trees. We like seeing the little animals. We like our space. We like the space between the houses, the space between the streets, and we like the open space between our neighborhood and the Town Boulevard properties. Our neighbors have fought for this in the past, and we intend to fight for it now. Please send this back to Planning Commission and give us a chance.
Okay. Thank you for your comments this evening. I know the city manager's been looking at this, and we'll be certainly in touch. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that's the only citizens' comment I have this evening. Mr. Atkins, city manager reports.
Yes, Your Honor. It's always a pleasure to have Duke Energy come to make an update on their efforts in the city. At this time, I'd ask Tim Abbott to come forward from Duke Energy to give a presentation this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Abbott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Doug. City Council, thanks for giving us a few minutes tonight on your agenda. Again, I'm Tim Abbott. I'm regional manager for Duke Energy. Been involved here in Middletown for almost 30 years in my 30-year career with Duke Energy. We come before you tonight, and I've got Chad Fritsch, who's our gas operations manager. We recently completed a 15-year program changing out all of the gas mains, the old bare cast iron and bare steel gas mains throughout our service territory, 1,200 miles worth of construction and gas main replacement. Middletown being our second largest city that we serve in Ohio and Kentucky, a lot of construction work went into that. And we spent a lot of time in the city building with city managers and staff. And in the construction world, you try to plan the best you can, and things typically work to the plan. Sometimes you have some hiccups, but the city went above and beyond in working with us to make this go as smoothly as it did for all the residents and businesses. So we've got a token of our appreciation tonight, and Chad's got just a couple of words to say as well.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you. I mean, we know from Duke Energy Ohio all the work that goes in with the communities, and that's why we wanted to give you this token. It's a clock, and it actually has the gas main that we replaced. We've been in business supplying gas to our customer for 180 years. So as you know, certain, your assets and stuff start to deplete. So what we want to thank you for everything that you've done. I know there's been challenges, especially for the customers and the community. And once again, we want to thank you for everything you've done for us.
Well, thank you.
And if I could just say that you now have a state-of-the-art gas system that is very reliable and very safe. We were one of the first utilities in the country to come up with this 15-year structured program to change it out. So thanks for your patience, and thanks for letting us be here tonight.
Well, thank you, Tim. We certainly appreciate all of Duke's partnerships with the city, everything from Earth Day to cleaning up some of the trees, and this certainly major project, certainly great to get us set for the next couple hundred years here in Middletown. So appreciate you coming down tonight, and appreciate the recognition. So
Glad
thank
to be
you
here.
all.
Thanks.
you.
Take care. Thank you.
Send that down that way and show that off. So, all right, Mr. Atkins.
Yes, Your Honor. Second, if you'll notice on your agenda for this evening, we have added as consent agenda item E, confirmation of a personnel appointment for a new economic development director. Wanted to go through the process, both for you and for the public, of how we got to this place. We had placed the ad in the paper towards the end of the year, got over 20 resumes in, took that down to 8 that we did for first round of interviews. That was a combination of staff, department heads, and members of the community. Greg Martin, Ken Cohen, and Rick Fishbaugh took part in those interviews for the first round. We came down to 2 very strong candidates for the last set of interviews. At that time, we brought another set of department heads in to, again, looking at that point, having vetted out their abilities and education, we were looking for who fits into our team the best. And Jennifer came out the clear winner in that thing. So you will be asked to approve her appointment this evening. And I think we're going to add another very strong member to our team. Last thing is we'll keep an eye on the weather as we move forward. We have a retreat scheduled for this Saturday. We are talking to Houston Woods. We're also talking to weather and trying to figure out what's going to happen on Friday. My hope is that by tomorrow night they'll have an idea what they think is going to happen, and at that point we'll pass that along and decide if we need to make any changes in our current plans. But right now we're kind of in wait-and-see mode, and I'll be in touch, I'm sure, several times between now and Saturday trying to make sure we're all headed in the same direction. And that's everything I have, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Brings us to our consent agenda. Ms. Skank?
For your consideration this evening, we have the approval of the City Council minutes from November 17th, December 1st, December 15th, and January 5th, 2016, to confirm promotional appointment of James Wilcox, Police Sergeant, Department of Public Safety, to receive and file oaths of office for Angela Black, Ashley Combs, Jessica Payne, and David Terrell, to receive and file Board and Commission minutes from the Board of Health from December 8th, 2015, and to confirm personnel appointment for Jennifer Eakey, Economic Development Director.
Okay, do we have a motion for the issues and actions as listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Mr. Picard.
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
Ms. Bronston.
Yes.
All right, and I'd like to invite Chief Muterspaw down to the podium for our pinning ceremony this evening. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. The police promotional process is a pretty rigorous one. It involves written testing. You have to have 5 years to even take the test. There's an assessment center, which is insanely stressful, which is a whole day of task-oriented work. We had 18 people sign up for this position to take the test. The top candidate who outscored everybody's here tonight is our next promotion. His name's Jamie Wilcox. A little bit about Jamie before I call him up. You know, I have this book I read that I have. It's called The Leadership Challenge, which is a phenomenal book on leadership. And it opens, the book opens, and it opens with one line, and it just says, without credibility, you can't lead. And that's a fact. And what Jamie Wilcox brings to our police department is credibility. He's a 15-year veteran. He served overseas, took a hiatus in the middle of police work to serve overseas for our country. He has been the Officer of the Year in Middletown. He's been the Crime Stopper Tri-State Officer of the Year, and he's also been the Butler County Police Officer of the Year, which is voted on by the police chiefs in Butler County. That's a strong trifecta. I don't think anybody that I know of, and I've been here 20 years, have accomplished anything like that. So he's well deserving of this. Jamie's not a limelight guy. It was hard to get him up here in the first place because he just likes to work and get the job done. I think the manager and council is going to be very happy with who we're promoting tonight. Jamie, you want to go ahead and come on up? Jamie's going to have his wife pin the badge on. He's going to introduce his family, and then he'll say a few words. Okay?
Is she coming on now?
Yeah.
Don't turn so you get in the photo here. So, congratulations.
Hi, I'm Jamie Wilcox. I've been with the city almost 16 years. With me tonight is my parents, my sister, my 2 sons, my wife, and a bunch of friends in the back. You guys should have locked the door. But I'm excited about getting started. That's about it.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, congratulations. So, thank you, Chief. All right, that brings us to our council comments. Start with Mr. Moon this evening.
Thank you. I just wanted to start off with something the mayor mentioned earlier. I want to send my condolences to Scott Bruggeman's family. I didn't know Scott, but I'm sure all of us feel the same way. We want to thank him for his love of Middletown and his service to Middletown. You've all been in my thoughts and in my prayers, and you'll continue to be in them. I also want to congratulate Roosevelt Robinson and Middletown Ford on the expansion of their building. They had their ribbon cutting for their showroom expansion last week, and thank them for their continued investment in Middletown. And then finally, I just wanted to thank everybody involved with the Martin Luther King Day events. I attended a couple great events, both at Atrium and at St. John's. So the Ministerial Alliance, Atrium, thank you for putting that on.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bohannon?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'd like to also pass on my condolences to Ginger and David Bruggeman for the passing of their son. Also the firefighters of this town who lost a brother. They're good friends of mine, and it's going to be sadly missed. He put up a good fight, but he's in a better place now. I also participated this weekend in the MLK events, a couple of them. It was very well put on. I really enjoyed myself. Also, I'd like to pass on my congratulations to Officer Wilcox on his promotion. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Picard?
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, would like to pass along my condolences to the Bergman family. They are outstanding members of our community, and all the best to them, and we'll keep them in our prayers.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bronson?
Yes, I'd like to also concur with my colleagues at the loss of Scott. At our last meeting, we honored him and gave him a standing ovation of applause, and I had an opportunity to say something to him in the hallway. So they are dear to me. I've known Ginger for a long time, and her and her husband are very great residents of Middletown, really. And I also like to give condolences to Chief Muterspaw, who lost his grandmother. And I also understand it was ironic that when they found out about her death, that his son also had some calls from colleges for his son to go play football. So he had 2 calls, and so it was a bittersweet kind of a day for that family. I'd like to thank my colleagues here who voted for me for vice mayor at our last meeting. I really appreciate that honor, and I'm sure I'll do you very well in the public. As a part of the Ministerial Alliance, which I'm a member of, on behalf of Bishop Monroe and Pastor Wagner, they wanted to send their thanks for the city for participating over the weekend. And I'd like to even recall what the keynote speaker said. If we are dreamers, are we dream killers? Are we dream watchers? Are we dream perfectors? Or are we going to be the dream? And so that stuck with me, and I plan on being the dream. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Again, just to reiterate condolences to the Bruggeman family. Certainly a tragic loss. Scott leaving us at such a young age was certainly something that a tragedy we don't want to have happen, but it has. So thoughts and prayers to their family, and certainly hope they get through this difficult time. Also, on a more pleasant note, the Martin Luther King Day activities were rather well put on. Busy weekend for everyone. Certainly appreciate everyone that came out for that. A lot of great ways to memorialize, what a lot of people think is, a day on, not a day off, and good messages throughout. Everything from the youth that participated in the event Saturday to some of the keynote speakers we had, and just a great recognition that was put together yesterday at Atrium, and certainly appreciate Atrium's support for all those activities as well too. The Suncoast Community Advisory Panel met last month and had a few announcements to share with the community. On some positive notes, their bypass venting came in 140 hours, or almost 10% under their permitted limit, which is certainly encouraging. We welcomed Miss Beth Hendricks, the new principal at Amanda Elementary, to our community advisory panel, and I look forward to working with her. They certainly stay involved there at Amanda. And the Suncoast team participated in a number of different community events throughout the fourth quarter, including landscaping activities at Ellie's Hope Playground and Abilities First. They were involved in the Mentor Read program at Mayfield Elementary. They participated in the Manufacturing Day put on by the Chamber of Commerce, which invited high schoolers from both Monroe and Middletown to various manufacturing facilities in town, and also did the Great Miami River Cleanup with Keep Middletown Beautiful. We presented the Choices program at Middletown Middle School. And they also had a team that ran in the Go the Extra Mile for Vets 5K run, and certainly appreciate all their involvement. And also, more importantly, they also participated in a number of holiday events, including supporting donations for food and Giving Tree gifts for local families through Middletown Family Service. So Suncoast certainly involved and engaged in our community. Mr. Moon mentioned Middletown Ford's celebration and grand opening. Certainly great to see that investment in the community. We recognized Mr. Robinson for being here for 25 years, and certainly great to see that expansion. And we also did the ribbon cutting at McDonald's, and Doug and I, and thank goodness Nadine didn't put that picture on Facebook, or at least I haven't seen it yet. Got our picture taken with none other than Ronald McDonald, so the mayor was clowning around a little bit, is what they wanted to say. But they did present us with a nice little memento, a little McDonald's plaque. I'll pass this down for recognizing the real grand opening in 2016, so we'll have that on display too. So nice little token, and certainly I think a testament, as I shared at that ribbon cutting, of investment in Middletown. Those are expensive operations to put on both the car dealership and a McDonald's restaurant, and it was interesting to watch the restaurant come out of the ground and in about 90 days. A pretty impressive project, pretty impressive investment, and shows that we've got good things happening here in Middletown. And lastly, I'd like to commend our city work crews. We had our first snow event earlier this year, and appreciate their work in getting out there and clearing that. It's always a challenge. We don't know what Mother Nature's going to throw at us, but we try to certainly keep up with that. And I think they did a good job in trying to keep that clear when it's a little bit easier when it's overnight, and we can have streets cleared by daybreak, but sometimes when it hits in that mid-morning rush, it makes it a little difficult. But certainly appreciate their work and diligence and getting on top of that. And that's all I have, so we can turn to Ms. Bretland for our legislation this evening.
Thank you. There are 3 items of legislation on tonight's agenda. Of those, one of them is an emergency legislation. We'll need a motion to waive the charter provision requiring 2 separate readings as to the following resolution number R 2016-03.
I make a motion to waive the charter that requires a reading for 2 days and separate days, and that resolution number R 2016-03 be read one time only for emergency measures.
Okay, do we have a second? Second. Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Picard?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Ms. Bronston?
Yes.
Ordinance number O 2016-01, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing purchases of asphalt by the city purchasing agent in 2016. This is a first reading, and no action is needed this evening.
Okay. Mr. Atkins?
Good evening, Mayor again and Council. Asphalt is available from only 2 sources in the Middletown area. Hauling it in from the outside proves to be more costly and inefficient, since only limited quantities can be hauled at any given time. It's not available at both plants in Middletown each day, so the city must purchase asphalt from wherever it's being produced on the days it is needed for the projects that we have ongoing. As we have done the last several years, staff is recommending that council waive the bidding procedure and allow asphalt to be purchased at the lowest and most responsive price available, as needed for city purposes, up to a maximum of $350,000. This is included in the 2016 budget.
Okay. It's good to be talking about asphalt, so even though it is in January. So, okay. Ms. Bretland?
Resolution number R 2016-02, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Middletown, Counties of Butler and Warren, State of Ohio for the period ending December 31st, 2016. This is also a first reading and no action is needed this evening.
Okay. Mr. Atkins?
Yes, Your Honor. Each year, a purchase order is created based on the estimated value of our refuse collection and disposal services. We have a contract with Rumpke for the next 3 years. We are asking tonight for a supplemental appropriation of $210,015.37. What has happened over the last several years is people come and move in and move out, and we've missed the estimate. We've not been a little over, a little under. And over the last several years, what happens is at the end of the year, we end up having to balance out, and we've gotten to the place where that's now up to $200,000. We would like to clean that up and get it done. This is not a matter of us not charging enough. There's actually $553,000 in the solid waste fund that we have collected for this purpose, but given the changes in the estimates versus the actual, we are asking for a supplemental appropriation to clean the books up and get the it's not past due, but get the extra amount cleaned up in our books. We are forecasting a 25 cent per month increase in 2017 as part of our new contract with Rumpke. We'll be discussing this as part of the budget process at the end of the year.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for Mr. Atkins? Okay. Thank you. And our last item?
Resolution number R 2016-03, a resolution amending the plan document for the City of Middletown OAPFF 457 Deferred Compensation Plan and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
Your Honor, as I relayed to council earlier, I apologize for bringing things at the last minute, but at the end of last week, we got an update from the Police and Fire Deferred Compensation Plan. As part of that update, the plan needs to be amended and restated to comply with IRS regulations that took effect at the beginning of the year. We did something similar to this in 2012, and we're asking you to do this again. The legislation before you allows us to amend our plan. It must be signed and received and effective by just January 31st, 2016, which means tonight is the only chance we'll have to adopt it. I apologize for the late entry. As I stated in my email, I think this is one of those cases where their emergency has now become our issue to take care of. So we are asking for your permission to amend the plan to reflect the IRS changes.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Atkins? I'll note for the record that the emergency resolution was distributed to council here for us to review, and we have it in front of us. So with that, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll?
Mr. Picard?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Bronston?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon? Mr. Moon?
Yes.
All right. Last item on the agenda is an executive session. I'll need a motion of the authority of Iowa Code 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Skank, would you call the roll?
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Bronston?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Picard?
Yes.
All right. Following our executive session, we'll be in recess, hopefully, for our council retreat. And if not, then
We're going to make appointments this evening?
we are going to make appointments. Okay.
We're going to
That wasn't on here. Okay. All right. A one-page agenda. We're not allowed. Okay. So we're going to come back into session, make the appointments. Thank you, Ms. Skank. Following that appointment process, we'll be recessing for our council retreat, hopefully this weekend. And if not, then our regular meeting on February 2nd in these chambers. Thank you all, and we'll be back in a little while.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
At the end of the year.
See, I go by what the agenda says. It says,
And you're right there by his right hand.
keep me honest.
Right by his side.